Hey guys, Carlo here. Welcome to the Project 721 YouTube channel. This is where we talk about digital entrepreneurship, marketing, advertising, finance, all of that cool stuff. Now, for today's episode, I have a very special treat for you. We will be talking to the marketing director of Century Tuna. Yeah, the canned tuna that you guys see, as well as sardines, all that stuff. Carlo Endaya. He used to be a co-worker of mine over at PLDT and Smart. And Carlo Endaya, for today's episode, will be sharing with you guys something super important if you want to put up your own business, if you want to put up your own startup, especially with streetwear brands. He'll be talking about brand positioning and marketing, the very basics of branding and being unique, being able to position yourself properly. So if you are putting up your own business, this is simply a must-watch video for you. Take it away, Carlo. Hey guys, so we're here with Mr. Carlo Endaya. Like what I mentioned in the intro, he's currently one of the top marketers in the Philippines. He's with the Tuna brand. I'll leave it at that muna. But we were actually colleagues before in the telco world. So Carlo E, baka you want to say hi first before we get into the discussion?
Hello, hi to all the viewers,
Mhm.
and really glad to be sharing a bit of knowledge on brand marketing, brand positioning with Carlo O.
Okay, so Carlo, E, I'll give you the landscape para alam mo yung audience. So a lot of
Sige.
people kasi who watch are either sabihin natin they are either like a content creator, kunyari gumagawa ng personal brand, gusto gumawa ng YouTube channel, gusto gumawa ng Instagram account, gusto gumawa ng persona, or sabihin natin gusto nila startup phase pa lang sila. Yung nagtatayo na sila ng either like a fashion label or they have like a small business. And the thing is usually yung mga taong ganyan are usually street smart, but they don't usually have a framework for branding and marketing. So with that said, ano sa tingin mo yung mga pwede mong ibigay na mga tips para sa kanila para hindi lang dahil gusto nila maging sophisticated, but dahil gusto nila maging mas effective with what they do?
Few things lang, definition of terms. So when we talk about marketing, it's the art and science of changing consumer behavior. So importante malaman yun kasi you have to know that you're gonna change a behavior from this to that. Kunyari gusto natin kumain sila ng mas madaming tuna. On the average, people are eating 2 meals in a month na may tuna. So gusto natin dagdagan yun. Sabihin natin 4 times or 5 times in a month. So that's a kind of an example of a change in behavior. So you have to understand ano yung gusto mong mangyari. So yan. So brand naman. So what's a brand? So a brand is basically, by textbook definition, it's really your identifying marks. But for me, I'd like to think about it as associations in the mind. Kasi the brand only exists in the mind. So kapag wala sa utak ng market mo, kung ano yung brand mo, then you don't have a brand. So kailangan lang doon, malinaw kung ano yung associations that is established in the minds of your consumer. So madami iba't ibang klaseng association, which I'll be talking about later on how to define your brand. So
Mm.
yun, dalawang definition of terms, marketing and brand. So ngayon, kaya importante din naman talaga to build your brand positioning. It's all about building a relationship with your consumer. So in order to build a relationship, just like with any relationship, kailangan medyo makilala ka kung sino ka bilang tao. Kung hindi mo kilala yung tao, parang ayaw mo mag-establish ng relationship sa kanya, di ba? So it's all about defining yourself. So ngayon, I have 5 key steps. Tawagin na natin steps in the toolkit in how to define your brand. First of the 5 steps, it's all about category segmentation. So if you want to build a business or build your brand, so you have to understand what your category is about. So you have to define your category, and more importantly, you have to segment the category. So kunyari, sabihin na natin you want to be a shoe vlogger, so sneaker vlogger. So in that sense, you have to understand the category and map the different kinds of consumers in that segment. So baka meron kayong mga hype, meron ka nung mga mas budget. So iba naman mas talaga naghahanap ng local. So you have to be able to understand and study your market in order to be able to plot out the different segments in your market.
Sabihin natin sa sneaker YouTube, you have people who do sneaker reviews, you have people who focus on bargain shopping, you have people who focus on fakes and replicas, you have people who focus na mga ukay-ukay. So marami, tama si Carlo, maraming types of sneaker content creators out there. So maganda yan, i-map out nyo yan. depende sa
Yan.
feel ninyo.
Do the mapping in very simple terms. Demographic, yung sabi natin yung age, yung socio-economic class, kung gaano sila kayaman. So yun yung mga tinitingnan nilang segmentation. Pero sometimes you can also segment based on behavior. So for me, I find it more powerful to look at the emotional and behavioral segmentation beyond the functional. Kasi minsan, pagka nandun ka na sa emotional segmentation tumitingin, doon mas nagiging powerful yung brands. Tulad ng mga kilala nating brands ngayon, like probably Nike. So we know that it goes beyond functional. Parang pagka meron kang iniisip talaga na more of, gusto mo talagang ma-inspire, then you see Nike as a brand that's able to do that. So that's why emotional or behavioral segmentation is also important. So number two, the second thing they have to do is targeting. So you already have your segments, you define the different segments. You don't have to hit them all. Actually, important nga when it comes to your brand positioning, focus ka on segments. So now the second step becomes more important because that's where you focus. So when you go targeting, it's as simple as, kunyari, meron ka ng segments. So meron ka na iba't ibang segments, then you pick anong segments ka pupunta. So in order to do that, there are a number of tools that you have to think. But most of the time, a lot of marketers would also look at ROI, the return on investment. So if you were to target a certain segment, what kind of investment do you need in order to generate the right returns? So pwede kasing super focused ka. Kunyari, ang segment mo, yung mahilig lang sa mga sneakers na kulay pula yung sintas. So,
Oh, hardcore.
hardcore. So, pag naging ganun ka naman ka-specific, baka naman talagang ikaw lang yun nandun, pero baka sobrang liit na nung segment that you're not gonna get the returns. And the opposite naman, if you feel that you can try to do everything, so you're gonna do all types of sneakers, expensive, performance, mura, mahal, then maybe you're not being focused enough, and other vloggers who are more focused will be eating at your market, target viewers mo. So kaya very important for you to understand hanggang saan ka pupunta, how narrow or how wide you can get. And it's all about thinking what's the maximized return to the investment that you're gonna do. Number three, so natapos na tayo sa dalawa, segmentation, targeting. Now, doon naman tayo sa mas familiar pa ng konti, which is positioning. So it's really now about defining your brand to make it desirable for your target. So it may sound basic, so mukhang ano lang naman, parang obvious naman, syempre kailangan ko i-define yung brand. But these are the moments na minsan nahihirapan yung mga tao pala how to define it. What's the way to do it? Parang bigyan mo lang ba ng pangalan, yun na yun. So the next few minutes I'll be talking about how you define your brand. So siguro to start off, we'd like to talk about what are the principles of brand positioning. So 5 principles lang. So basic principles when you try to think about your brand that's designed to hit the target that you selected a few minutes ago. So what are the 5 principles of brand positioning? First, it has to be unique. So medyo given din naman yun, pero sometimes people forget. So gusto lang nilang gumawa ng vlog, hindi gumawa na sila, period. But ang dami na palang ganun sa paligid. So jahe naman kung ganun. So you really have a hard time getting your viewers. Second, it has to be important. So meron talaga, or important to the people that you targeted. So hindi naman kailangan importante sa lahat ng tao, but it's important and relevant to the people that you're gonna communicate to. Yung third, your brand should be credible. So, ibig sabihin, paniniwalaan ka naman sa sinasabi mo. So, later on, I'll be giving some examples on how to do that. And fourth, it has to be enduring, hopefully. So, if you want to brand for the long term, then sana enduring siya. Unless gusto mo lang talaga pang one time, ngayon lang, tapos sabay exit ka na. So, mahirap din naman yun, sayang.
Pero may mga ganun yung mga fly-by-night.
Mga ganun. So baka hindi din nila dinesign na ganun, pero nawawala lang talaga. O baka din, plano mo talaga, baka manggagancho ka lang. Tapos ngayon lang meron, tapos takasan mo kagad. Pwede din. So, and lastly, it has to be consistent. So, yun yung 5 principles. So, consistency, actually, yun yung pinaka-importante kasi if you already know where to go, then you have to keep on pushing in that direction. So, I have an analogy here where it's like pushing a car. So, syempre, pag may tinutulak ang kotse, tapos dumadami kayong tumutulak, which is your different aspects of your brand, ang problema, kung lahat kayo tumutulak sa iba't ibang direksyon ng kotse, hindi siya gagalaw.
Correct. It
So
will
it has
just be
to be
stuck.
you're all in one area and then pushing it in the right direction. So yan
Exactly.
yung critical when it comes to consistency. So ito na. So yun yung 5 principles. But when it comes to positioning, I'll give you the elements, the important elements in defining your brand. So sulat nyo lang to. So yung una would be who's your target. So yung kanina sinabi natin, we
Target
do the
market.
targeting. Kilala mo na kung sino yung target mo. You define it as well as you can. Second would be the insight. So the insight is the consumer truth that you will work on to make your brand relevant. So ito yung motivation of your target that will lead them to action. So that's the insight. So yung pangalawa.
Siguro
Medyo
Carlo,
ano yun?
bigay ka ng example of insight.
Yan. So again, siguro balik ko lang sa tuna. Okay. So, kunyari, we know that the segment of tuna, syempre, there's tuna that you can eat. So, talagang madami yan. So, when we did the segmentation, we went beyond demographic. We also went to behavioral psychographic definition. And we know that there are people who eat tuna because they find it healthy. So, yun yung definition namin ng target. And on the insight, that we leverage on for the brand. Sabihin na natin, it's Century Tuna, the brand that I work on. So it's one of the most powerful Filipino brands in the world. Yung insight natin is that when people think health, they think it's hard. So yun yung challenge. So nako, kuya, gusto ko magpa-healthy pero hirap yun eh. Oo. Pero ang daming tao dadapa na kagad doon. Parang sa thought pala, gusto ko magpa-healthy pero hirap yan eh. So that's why that is an insight. If you think about, wow, kung yung pala iniisip nila, ang dami ko palang pwedeng gawin in order to make my brand come to life. And then the third would be your brand personality. So, sino sila? And then yung brand personality, sino ka? So it's all about what's your personality? Medyo ano ka ba? Serious ka ba? Or medyo patawa ka ba? Or medyo ano ka ba? Credible, expert. So madaming iba't ibang ways to define your personality. But you need to define it. Kasi kung hindi ka define sa ganon, minsan you're, sophisticated, tapos bigla naging, jologs ka ng konti. So, pag pinagsabay mo yun, baka malito yung consumer mo. Sino ba tong brand na to? Pero if you're very clear about it, then kasama yun sa definition. So, target, the insight, and the brand personality. Yung pang-apat na element of brand positioning is yung unique proposition. So ito na yung mismong discriminator mo. In one line, what will set you apart? So yun yung medyo tricky minsan. And at the end of the day, sometimes when you talk about your brand unique proposition, ang pinakamaganda dyan, when you say it, you know na ikaw lang yung ganun eh. Pero minsan naman, some brands may katulad, so may similarities, but they're not implementing it well enough. So if you're not executing well enough, pwede kang pwede maging unique yung proposition sa isang tao kahit pareho kayong sinasabi ng isang tao pang iba. So palaisipan yan. So but when it comes to your unique proposition, so for instance, si Century Tuna, again. So it makes healthy, delicious tuna for all. So yun yung kwento niya. So it also addresses yung issue na health is hard kasi pag healthy, usually hindi masarap. Or pag healthy, usually mahal. So, but when it comes to Century Tuna, well, very affordable, madaling i-prepare kasi easy open can, and it's very healthy.
Talaga alam mo na yung mga linya.
Oo. Yan, sama yan. This video is sponsored by Century Tuna pala eh. So yun lang. So that's...
Di banana bread.
Dami. Padala kita dyan.
Madami ako, don't worry, madami kami dito.
Yan. Good.
Okay, sige, tuloy mo lang, bro.
So, the unique proposition. Then, the next one would be your reasons to believe. So, what are the reasons why they should believe your proposition? So, for us, it's great tasting, affordable, and even our super buds is our reason to believe. Yung mga super buds na super batak. So they're the guys that are really one of the reasons why Century Tuna is a credible brand to deliver help. Those are very basic yun eh. Usually when you talk to marketeers, those terms that I mentioned are very much common. So your target, your insight, your brand personality, your unique proposition, and the reasons to believe. So yun, yung limang yun. Pwede sulat sa notebook, tapos mag-plot-plot kayo ng mga kung ano tingin nyo, yung brand nyo can define in those different elements. Pero ito yung pinaka gusto ko, pinaka secret ng lahat. So that's, yung 5 na yun, buhay ka na dun eh. May brand ka na eh. Pero itong pang-anim na to, this is critical kasi for me, this sets great brands apart from your normal brands. So this is the brand belief or the brand purpose. So it's how is your brand making the world a better place?
Nice.
So yun yung magandang tanong. Kasi once you know that, it goes beyond functional. It goes beyond the product. It goes beyond, nagbebenta kasi kami ng sapatos or nagbebenta kami ng bag. When you have a belief that is more important, more relevant, then yung consumers mo will eventually love your brand even if you can't define, they can't say why. So if suddenly they love your brand just because, then you know that you really cracked it. And you probably have a really strong brand purpose. Or kumbaga yung sinasabi nga ni Simon Sinek, what's your why? So once you have that why, then ang dali-daling mag-activate ng brand beyond just selling products. So yan, so maganda yan.
Minention kanina ni Carlo E na magandang idea to write it down. In fact, I strongly recommend that you guys do that. If you are thinking of, actually not thinking, dapat sundan niyo yun kung hindi niyo pa nagagawa. Isulat niyo lahat yon, put it on a piece of paper, or if you want to make your own like PowerPoint presentation for it para lang talaga makommit sa memory, gawin niyo yon kasi it really helps out and it guides you on what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing para ma-build nyo consistently yung brand niyo. So, work on that. Write it on paper or work on a deck para lang talagang guided kayo.
We now talked about 3 steps in brand positioning. So there's segmentation, targeting, and positioning. So the next 2 are also very important. So the 4th is product and service architecture. How does your brand translate into products and services? And number 5 would be execution. So how do you bring your brand to life? So you'll need to have executional guidelines for that. So for 4 and 5, we'll also take a few more minutes to explain. So we'll probably cut the video right now and have a different video for the next.
So guys, what we'll do is we will park the episode for now. It's a bit long, and I'm sure you will need time to work first on your brand positioning. Yung lalo na yung ano tawag mo doon sa third, yung may lahat parts yun. Yan yung brand positioning, di ba?
Yung brand positioning.
Yung
target, insight,
yes.
Brand personality, proposition.
So work on that first, guys. Write it on a piece of paper, work on that deck like what I mentioned earlier. And then in a few days from now, we'll release part 2 with Carlo E again. And we'll be talking about the last 2 elements, which is yun nga, the product architecture as well as ano yung panghuli mo?
Execution
plan. Now, hopefully after both episodes, you guys get a better sense on brand marketing. You get a stronger fundamental. Your fundamentals for marketing are much better, and hopefully makatulong yan sa inyo. And lastly, before we end this episode, 1, mag-subscribe kayo sa channel ko. At 2, ang wife ni Carlo E is actually also a YouTuber. So Carlo E, baka pwede mo naman i-plug si Joe.
Oo nga. So my wife is a yoga teacher and she has an Ever Yoga YouTube channel. So you search for her in YouTube with Joe Endaya. So it's Ever Yoga by Joe Endaya, J-O Endaya. And she basically teaches yoga to make it accessible to everybody. So yun yung ano niya.
Kompleto na yung linya.
Oo.
Nagawa na ng positioning.
Everyday yoga for everybody. That's
so guys, I'll put the link down below to that channel just in case you guys want us to. Make sure that you subscribe. Carlo E, maraming salamat. I'm sure maraming natuto from this session, and hopefully we get to have you more on the show in the coming months. Ang iniisip ko nga bro, pwede tayo kumuha ng like questions from
pwede.
Para tayong Tulfo pero for marketers. Diba? They can present like a business problem. Tapos pwede natin i-tackle in a conversation. Tapos if we need more expertise then we can bring in more people. Diba? Para fun. Makakatulong yun. So, siguro in a couple of weeks we can do that. So again, guys, make sure that you subscribe. That's it for now for part 1. Peace.